Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. We've said for a long time that the war on drugs is nothing but a war on black people. We've said that repeatedly. People often ask about the issue of racism in America, about the issue of white supremacy in America. They speak of these things as if they are some kind of false ideas or they're some kind of mythical ideas. But today I came across an article that is a clear example of everything that we have been talking about when we talk about how the war on drugs is nothing but a war on black people, when we talk about white supremacy and law enforcement. This is a clear example of what we're talking about. The Alabama Justice Project obtained documents about an internal investigation that took place in the Dothan, Alabama Police Department. They uncovered corruption. They uncovered a situation where you had police officers in a special narcotics unit. These police officers deliberately planted drugs and weapons on young African American men. And many of these young African American men were wrongfully convicted and sentenced. This has been going on since the mid-90s. And this is the first time that it has been exposed to the public. Instead of these officers being punished for their crimes, instead of them being terminated or convicted for planting evidence and planting weapons and framing people and setting people up, these people were promoted. These people were promoted to higher positions within law enforcement. They were rewarded for locking up black men without justification, for locking up innocent black people, putting them in bondage. When this information was brought to the attention of the police chief, when it was brought to the attention of the district attorney, instead of acting to correct the problem, those two people covered it up. I will include a link in the description to this video of the article that fully details this problem. And this problem still exists today. Nothing has happened. These people are still in their position. They are still holding high positions within law enforcement. And another important fact must be exposed as well. This article points out how all of these officers, all of them, were members of a neo-Confederate organization, a white racist organization, an organization that talked about how black people have low IQs, an organization that advocated returning black people to Africa, an organization that promoted the idea that the civil rights movement was some kind of racist Jewish conspiracy. These are the people in law enforcement. Back in the day, as I mentioned in another video, there was no distinction between the KKK and the police department. They were one and the same. During the day, they wore their police uniforms, their badges, their blue uniforms with the hats, and they had their batons, and they had the color of law behind them when they oppressed black people. And at night, they took off those police uniforms and they put on Klansman outfits. They put on hoods and they terrorized black people. And apparently that same thing is happening today. You have these racist white supremacists locking black people up without cause, without justification. This is nothing but modern day slavery. These people are locking black people up just like the slave traders used to lock up our ancestors and put them in bondage. As Michelle Alexander points out in her excellent book, the new Jim Crow, there are more black people incarcerated today or that are included under the supervision of the criminal justice system. More people under that system than the number of people who were enslaved. So when they frame these black people, plant fake evidence on them, they are putting people in bondage. They are locking people up behind bars for crimes that they did not commit. This is wrong. This is outrageous. And as is pointed out in the article, the Justice Department must take action to correct this injustice. These people are held in bondage, and then when they actually leave prison, if they ever leave, they are subjected to Jim Crow-like conditions. As Michelle Alexander points out in her book, many of the rights that we take for granted are taken away from people once they have been convicted of a crime. They can be discriminated in terms of employment, in terms of housing, in terms of financial aid to go to school, in terms of receiving welfare, in terms of just being able to survive. And because of those discriminatory measures that deny people the opportunity to live a productive life, often black people get caught up into the cycle of crime and they end up back in jail. This is outrageous that you have these young black men who are innocent held in bondage. And this article pointed out how 1,000 young black men have been wrongfully convicted based on this planted evidence. They would plant cocaine on people, plant guns on people, plant marijuana on people, and then they would use that to convict them. See, I've said time and time again that I don't trust police. We can't trust the police. The police are corrupt. They lie regularly to lock people up. They lie regularly to justify killing black people. They are nothing but modern day slave catchers. And that's the origin of the police, as many people know. They started out as slave catchers. They would track down runaway slaves. And today they're using their power to lock people up without justification. And it's modern day slavery because once people are incarcerated, they are deprived of freedom. They don't have freedom. And they are forced to work for little to nothing. And there are private industries that profit off of our incarceration, off of our free labor, just like the damn slave master profited off of our free labor when we were held in actual slavery. So this is an important issue that must be discussed. I know that there was a tragic event that happened today, but I just hope that this story does not get drowned in all the chatter about what happened today. So I just wanted to share those brief comments with you all. I welcome your feedback. I want to hear what you have to say about this issue. And again, I will post a link to the article so that you can read all the details for yourself. That's very important. So with that, I'll just say, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.